Okay, let's talk about some art. A few months ago, I tried making a video just to share what's happening in my studio with people, and I was actually working on this piece right here, and I did sort of like a fast forward sort of video of me working on this piece, and it was kind of tough. It didn't really work out the way I wanted it to as far as my finished video, and I didn't really feel like it was really informing people that much. And the worst part about it is that trying to do a videotape myself while I'm in the act of painting it, I felt I was actually interfering with my painting, and so I sort of put that on the side. But I spend a lot of time here in my studio by myself, and aside from the dogs, I don't get much feedback on stuff. So this piece right here, a few weeks ago, actually, I posted it. It's almost done. I've got a little bit of tweaking I still want to do on actually both of these. And I was didn't get a lot of comments. I think in general, most people aren't really that interested in what I'm doing, but somebody out there might. I posted this image on Facebook, and I was hoping somebody might give me a little bit of feedback, because it is important for me, I think, to know how other people are interpreting my art. I think it was James Turrell who said art is like a completed pass. Here I am in my studio and I'm throwing balls out, but until somebody catches it, the process really isn't complete, and how they interpret my art might be very different than what my intentions are, and especially because my art is very narrative. There's definitely a story. I'm definitely trying to say something or express something in all my works. So there's that. But I'm also very interested in how other people, without knowing what I'm doing, how they take it and interpret it. And there was one person who actually made a comment on Facebook about the piece, but their interpretation really was completely different than what my intent was. But it was really interesting to see how they had interpreted what was going on there. So I think what I'm going to do now with this video is, and if this works out, I might continue to do this, but I'm going to just do separate videos a bit at a time, or little bitsy short videos while I'm working on this piece. Not literally while I'm working, but during the time that I'm working on things. And I just started this piece the other day, and it's really in fact, all three of these are based upon are from a series that I've been working on based upon childhood memories. And so what I've done so far is I started off just by sort of sketching it in. You can sort of see these underlining lines where I just sort of sketched it in, and I took my time with this because, especially like with I wanted to make sure that the perspective was convincing, and I had a composition that I really liked, and I don't know if the camera can see it all if I've got all this stuff in the way, but anyway. So, and then once I got it sort of sketched in, I've gone in to just sort of like put a real thin wash over everything, just to get a sense of really value. The actual hues are probably going to change quite a bit, and definitely textures and stuff like that. But I wanted to, just sort of, cover the space to get a general idea, to help sort of like identify the form a little bit better. So I've got a lot to do. And this is a painting that I think, because this is actually a very important painting to me. This was probably the first of this series. This was the painting that I really sort of wanted to do, but I've sort of been struggling with how I want to approach it. This is probably the most important of this series that I'm doing right now, the most important to me and the most meaningful to me. So I'm probably going to be spending a lot of time on this, and I'll probably set it aside at certain points and go and work on other paintings. That's the way I work. But I'm going to periodically bring everyone up to date as far as my progress on it. So, for example, you know, the texture and everything is going to be very different. One of the things that's really going to be just in terms of the process and technique is you'll notice that a common, you know, genre in a lot of my paintings, you can see the painting back there with the brick walls and the painting with the concrete blocks here and more sort of cinder block walls in this one. These grids are something that I like, you know, putting into my works. And so, you know, all of this is going to be, you know, a brick wall. And it's going to be really challenging just for me to do that. So that's something that I'll probably be spending a lot of time just working on putting in the bricks. But then I may be changing her, although I feel pretty good about this one so far. But typically when I'm working on things, I'll add and subtract things. For example, I moved, in the process of working on this painting down here, I moved a lot of the little jacks around and things like that. And in fact, my original, the little ball right there was not even in my original drawing, but I thought, you know what, you know, you can't play jacks without the ball, so I put the ball in there. And I also thought that sort of like, just in terms of composition, you know, added something a little more to it. So that's something where I changed. And even in this one, there was a lot of stuff that I changed. And in fact, if you saw, I think I did eventually post a part of the fast motion. I changed the clock here. What was originally just sort of like a basic clock, but I changed it to this cuckoo clock. And the signs I changed from what they were. And you know, even I think even some of the items in the pastry case there, I changed around. I changed, you know, the color of my Aunt Goldie's dress for different reasons. So I will, while I'm working on a piece, I'll change things as I go. So right now I had no idea. The odds are I probably will be changing something in this. I have no idea what it might be, but as I'm working on it, that'll probably pop up. So yeah, that's it, I think, for this video. So you know, and I hope this format works out. And yeah, and I really like people's feedback. You know, even you know, if you're totally you know, misinterpreting my work, you know, that's important to me, just to see how people, you know, see my work from their perspective. So yeah, we'll see how, if I keep doing this, you know, on this new channel that I've started. Yeah, we'll see where it goes.